I need to send her a message to
I
let
have
her
two.
know.
I have two more details. Just waiting for you to get that.
Yeah, just a second.
I looked at the diagnostic criteria, wrote down stuff to meet it, and trying to stick with the character.
Let me just let her know, because if not, she's going to keep doing the same thing.
Right. She's persistent. That's good. That's a good trait sometimes. It's annoying, but it works.
Hello, Yannick. Je suis en pleine réunion. Merci. Funérailles. De la pierre. Okay. And this is a friend. She lives in Canada. And you remember I told you about my big brother who passed away, right?
Yeah,
so
I was going to ask you about him too.
The funeral is tonight. They're doing the viewing. The Haitian Seventh Adventist people, they are very big on long, grieving processes. I don't know
healthy.
why.
It's healthy.
But honestly, personally, to me, it's too much. But it's healthy. Okay.
Yeah.
So just to answer quickly the question, tonight they're doing the viewing, and then tomorrow morning at 10 Eastern time, they are going to have like the will, memorial service.
Right.
And so, because I cannot be there physically, some people are trying to figure out how they can make the funeral available live on Facebook, but they will take turn because Haitian Seventh-day Adventist memorial services can be very long, especially if the person is in a good standing in the community, like my brother was. So it can go for 4 hours. So I've been trying to do the logistic with somebody about that. And tonight, when I'm done, I'm going to double check to make sure it happens, because other people are counting on me to be able to participate that way. They're in California or Florida or Georgia or whatever, so I need to give them the heads up. But for her, I know that she's going to tell me, oh, I didn't know that your brother died, so what happened, blah, blah, blah. So, and then on top of it, she didn't quite know about my sister who had stage 3 stomach cancer. And I told her what my sister wants people to know, so far. But she's, as I told you, the kind of so she's really, makes you more anxious.
Yeah.
And honestly, I'm not ready for her. And even if we didn't have that, I was going to tell her I will call you back on my own time, so
yeah.
I'm glad that I don't have to lie.
You don't need her right now.
So by 7 o'clock, I can deal with her after I eat something, but
it's just it's her way of trying to.
Yeah. Everybody has some issues, I know, because I know I have my own issues too, but she can act like a
Everybody
little...
can have their own issues. It's just rude when they give them to someone else.
Yeah, but I don't like when, they're passing upon, because I'm trying to remain calm, despite all that's going on.
Makes you wonder how that worked for them in the past and why that's still functional for them, because it's usually not.
I don't know. Anyway, I have a feeling that we're going toward body dysphoria,
Uh-huh.
and also people who stay at home, the anxiety disorder.
Well,
I'm not
part
quite sure
of
if it's
the-
anxiety disorder or if it's, and you seem to have a little, the person seems to have a little reactive attachment disorder too, because the
Oh.
mother wasn't there.
If you look through the body dysmorphic disorder,
All that isn't in there?
yeah, that's why I wrote these notes
Okay.
based on the,
Yeah.
it's in the
What page is that?
obsessive compulsive
Uh-huh.
right before hoarding,
230.
body dysmorphic disorder.
Yeah.
So that's why I went through
Uh-huh.
that.
It's kind of hard not to be taken aback when the person tells you, I want to see a physical therapist so I can exercise my eyes so they can be better. So now you're asking yourself, is that person, a little cuckoo on top of it? Like a kind of...
No, my eyes are
Mhm.
crooked, right? They're just a little bit. I have Graves' disease. It does affect my eyes. It does.
Mm.
And that's okay. I'm so okay with myself. But my older sister,
Okay.
this is
What,
kind of
what
like
page
her.
is that?
Body dysmorphic disorder. It's right
Right.
before hoarding.
Okay, because it's a big chapter.
There it
Yeah,
is.
okay, yeah.
So I read through the diagnostic features and then the feet.
So the
Body?
muscle dysphoria,
Nope, don't have that.
Not that, okay.
So now when you do your diagnosis,
Uh-huh.
it talks about good or fair insight,
Insight,
with poor
mhm.
insight, and with absent insight, delusional beliefs. Where do you think this character fits?
I would say with absent insight and delusional beliefs.
Yes.
Yeah, that's where that person is. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just going through life going, okay.
Yeah,
People are just telling me
yeah.
I look fine because they don't want to hurt my feelings.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the other thing also,
But
is there anything about the wanting to stay home? Is that something that's
that's in here.
okay?
You would get eating disorders would be misdiagnosed with this because you would obsess over their body image
Uh-huh.
without the other things.
I thought that you had an eating disorder. That's why I was asking about
Mhm.
if you
Oh,
ate but you don't. In that
Yeah.
case,
And like how I picked how something that we haven't talked about in class.
yeah.
Yeah. I looked at these other things. Agoraphobia could be misdiagnosed in this.
Yeah,
of
because
the-
you gave me I was thinking about agoraphobia because you
Mhm.
didn't want to go out, but it's mostly
anxiety disorder would be
Anxiety,
one
yeah,
to your
mhm.
thing. So I went through all of this
But
to
I
make
think
sure I had.
unfortunately the psychotic disorder is there too. Did you see that?
What
Because being
dysmorphic
individual,
disorder is.
because you have delusional appearance beliefs, so the psychotic disorder is
But
there.
those delusional beliefs are centered around the perception of the dysmorphia. The psychosis isn't a disconnect from reality, it's a
okay,
lack of
okay.
insight.
Okay, because I didn't really read. Okay, so it's more the anxiety disorder. Yeah.
That's it, yeah.
So what I can say that in the process, I thought about agoraphobia, I thought about the psychotic disorder,
ruled out.
but I ruled them out.
Okay,
Yeah.
here's a couple of more things for your things that you asked about history. You're gonna want to write this stuff down.
I'm looking for space to do that.
I didn't bring a notepad.
No, that's okay. Okay, so here. All right. So for the diagnosis,
I said that.
okay, rule out agoraphobia,
Right, and then here's your page. Right there.
page 246, and rule out eating disorder, and also rule out the psychotic disorder.
Mhm.
But anxiety disorder is there
Mhm. But the anxiety disorder is centered around the perceived
because
deficiency.
perceived
There's excessive time
deficiency.
spent in compensatory efforts because of the perceived
Mhm.
deficiency. There's a pursuit of surgery
Mhm.
and reparative efforts because of
Yeah.
the perceived.
Okay, perceive a parent's flaws.
Won't let people take pictures, won't share pictures because of the perceived. It's all
Okay.
based around,
Mm-hmm.
I gotta fix this, I gotta
Yeah.
fix this, I
Yeah.
gotta fix this.
Yeah.
Now, it happens because there's like a first generation. If you were to ask about family history, you would find out my father was obsessive compulsive and moved out at an early age.
Mm-hmm.
You did clue on that the mother was very neglectful.
Mm-hmm.
You did figure that one out.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you'd asked about history, would have noticed that this would have become an issue at age 14. I picked.
Oh, okay.
Age is a so when you're ruling out things, it's like, when did this first start for you? That's a blanket question everywhere, always. When did this first start? And it doesn't really say that in these questions. And that's something I would definitely add, is a when did this first start when we're talking about mood.
Mood would be what?
This
Oh, you
first
mean the section 7?
I would ask when did these feelings first start when we're talking about mood. I would also thought content, suicidal and homicidality. I would ask when did this first start for you? Always
What part are you when you're saying the thought content?
if I'm on the first page in section 7, when we ask our person about mood, I would definitely ask, when did this first start? Because in our paper, we have to talk about this. What would we add? What would be different? I would definitely ask, when did this first start?
And for you, would say 14 years old. Yeah.
And thought content, I
And
would, in
thought
some
content is
of these
where
questions,
is number 10.
yep, number 10. In here, I would, like, in some of these questions, like, are you worried, scared, frightening about something about it? I wouldn't ask, when did that first start? Unless it seemed relative, but I would definitely, do you see, hear, smell, taste, or feel things that are not really there? When did this first start? Whenever they answer in a positive way to a positive symptom to something, ask them when it first started.
When did this first start? Okay. Every time there is a positive answer
To a history
to
question.
the history
And then
question.
this also doesn't say, so you ask about family, like when I'm talking about.
Okay, I was going because I asked you about the family. I don't know if it's in there. I asked you
We got
about
hung
your
up on the
mom.
month. Yeah, we got hung up
Yeah,
on the
but
mother.
no, but the question was, is there a question here about like
No, there's
okay?
not.
So
Insight
add
and judgment
I just asked the question because I thought it was important, but we need to add
Family
question
history.
about family history.
Current relation, that is very important too, 'cause that's in the
Family.
psychosocial assessment, actually.
Family story and current situation. So in a way, I think that's where maybe I would say the mental health exam doesn't
Address those.
it doesn't address everything that I need to know when I'm doing the
It doesn't
history of
talk
it because in the biopsychosocial you have those things,
Yeah,
and
it leaves out the environment stuff.
yeah, and I need personally I'm big into ecological approach,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so it leaves out that, and I'm a little concerned about it.
So, and it asks about that in the bios, because you have to do both.
Mm-hmm.
In the mental status exam, we can talk about your family history, your legal consequences, and all that stuff. But if I'm not making a note on, you came in here and your hair hasn't been washed in 3 months, and you're wearing clothes that you've been wearing for over a week, and you smell like a rotten trash can. If I'm not putting that in here,
Yeah,
that's important.
because I need to know about the family systems. I need to know about the interaction
So we need to do
between
both. We need to be
yeah.
assessing the mental state of the person. So
Yeah.
how's your mood been lately? I do that in my group. I know why they're all there. They have to if they want to get their anxiety medications.
But it was good for me to know that that you have a sister. The sister, you rely on each other because unfortunately your mom was neglectful, and then on top of it, she wasn't even there for you as a mother, and she was projecting her own issues on you too because she She had blue eyes. She wanted to have children with blue eyes, and then she didn't see